Hi there, this is Tom with A2 Agile, and recently I've been talking a lot about our new system called intentional culture. And culture, one of the aspects of it, of course, is human interactions. And a few times lately, the issue of interpersonal conflicts on a team has come up. And I thought I would talk about this by way of a personal experience that happened to me many years ago. I had the good fortune to be involved in a program that was an offshoot of EST. And some of you are old enough may remember EST. It was a transformational, I don't even know what you'd call it, a transformational experience. It was portrayed in an old movie called the North Dallas 40. This was an offshoot. It was a little less stringent as that other program, but I had an epiphany. At that time, I was estranged from my father. We had a lot of trouble when we talked. He would anger me, and we would end up not having a good time talking to each other, and eventually we just stopped doing it. And I had a realization, and the realization was this. We had only two issues that caused almost all of the conflict. One of the issues was my mother. My parents were divorced, and my dad had a bad habit of talking negatively about my mother. And the other one was money. He always thought that I had issues with money, and I thought he was the one with issues with money. And so there was always some tension about that. And so I called him up, and the first thing I did, which was part of the program, was I apologized to him. I apologized not only for his benefit, but for my own. It was a way of cleaning the slate and making it so that we could start fresh. And after that apology, I arranged to have an agreement with him. And the agreement was we wouldn't talk about either of those two things. We could talk about anything else, but not those two things. And I made clear to him that if he did start talking about those two things, I would invite him to stop. And that if he didn't stop, I would simply end the conversation. Whether it was in person or over the phone, I would end the conversation. And so we went forward with that understanding. And we developed a great relationship. I am so fortunate that between that time and the rest of his life, I enjoyed a rich and beneficial relationship with my father. And I was reminded recently about that experience and how very often when two people are having trouble working together or conflicting, there's one or two issues behind that. And as people who are coaching others, we can be very helpful in bringing the two people together and having them figure out what it is specifically that's the source of tension between them. And then see if there's a way to either narrow it down to where it becomes nothing or to work through those issues. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's say that I have a way of conducting myself where maybe I ask a lot of questions and don't answer questions when people want me to. And so I do this all the time. It's just, part of the way I operate. But maybe it's annoys the crap out of somebody else and they don't like dealing with me because they know they're just going to get a barrage of questions and they're not going to get the information from me they need. And so through conversation, we could uncover that and we could arrange an agreement. And the agreement is when I'm asked a question by this person, I will first answer it before asking any follow-on questions. It's a simple solution. And it may just eliminate the tension between us if I just do that. And I may invite this person to remind me if I don't do that, to help me get in the habit of answering questions. It's just an example that it might go away. Other times, though, there may be a situation where we just disagree on what the right practice is. And we may need to find a way to just set that aside and say, look, when these situations come up, we need to recognize that we disagree on how to handle them. And we either need to just acknowledge that and isolate it from the rest of our relationship, or to find a way to set it aside so that we just don't deal with it, like we work around it. You have to be creative in the moment to figure out what these situations are and how to handle them. I can't tell you all the answers about how you could go about doing that, but I think it's important to face these issues head on and not allow them to fester, because great teams just don't exist when there's that kind of tension between people in the group. I hope you find this useful. I hope it's something you can put into practice on your own teams. If not between you and someone else, maybe between two other people that you can help guide through the situation. I know it's been a while since I made a video. I'm going to get back to making some more. I want to talk about the different aspects of intentional culture. I think it's really important to building the kind of teams that we all want to have. And until next time, take care. We'll talk to you soon.